Hello and welcome to Celebrating Cinema, a podcast for the love of cinema. I'm your host, Laura Gommans, and I'm here with Lab 111's head of cinema, Tom Ooms.
Howdy.
Cinema's dirtiest secret is that it's designed to make you want something you can never have. It can make you obsessed, much like characters in movies like Vertigo, Peeping Tom, Misery, or more recently, Babygirl. Cinema has an enduring fascination with fixation in all its forms, from voyeurism and stalking to creative mania, erotic compulsion, and love pushed far beyond reason. Today we're looking at some of cinema's most obsessive characters and asking if we're really so different from them. This is to coincide with Lab 111's new extensive program, Can't Get You Out of My Head, where you can watch the films we discussed today on the big screen. Before we start, I'd love it if you could take a second to leave us a review as it helps more people find us. Also, send us your most controversial film hot take or confession. We read one at the end of every episode. And there's a lot of fun stuff happening at Lab 111 in the coming weeks. We have a Fight the Power screening with our very own Kiriko Mechanicus, who will be screening her short How to Catch a Butterfly, plus a talk on May 18th. And make sure to catch Summer Wars by the masterful animator and director Mamoru Hosoda. You can find the link to tickets in the show notes. Tom, what is up, my friend? How's life?
Hi. Life is good. I am going to the Cannes Film Festival.
What is something you're looking forward to?
So the official selection has been presented, and if I should pick one movie, I'm really looking forward to Paweł Pawlikowski's new film.
For the people at home?
For the people at home, he is a director who made a movie called Ida and a movie called Cold War, which maybe more people know.
Yes.
Both of those films are incredibly melancholic, black and white, Academy ratio movies. Especially Cold War is this beautiful romance story, and it's a bit of a period piece. And this new film stars Sandra Hüller.
Oh, I'm obsessed with her.
Who we now know from Project Hail Mary. But
oh, that's what we know her from?
Some people will know from
Harry
Project
Styles karaoke scene. Amazing.
Or the other karaoke scene from Tony Erdmann.
Yes.
Do you think that was a reference? Because I thought it was so weird that
a lot of people have been saying it's odd that it happened twice.
Right?
So what else are you looking forward to in Cannes?
The past few years, me and Tobias, who also works at Lab and is my partner in the Odyssey Classic Distribution Company, we go to Cannes to meet people, find classics that are either restored or hard to find, talk to people, see if we can acquire them to re-release them here in the Netherlands. That's a lot of meetings, a lot of meeting people. It usually, for the past 2 years, that meant I didn't see a lot of films in Cannes. And specifically this year, I want to go and plan I'm going to be there for a week or a bit longer. I want to plan it so that I can finally see more stuff. Last year, I saw more than the year before that, but still really not enough. Then again, I have friends and fellow programmers who go there who see somewhere between 40 and 60 movies in
Jesus
2 weeks.
Christ.
And they always look like they're the crypt keeper at the end of the festival. So
if you're Tom's friend and you always go to Cannes and see 46 movies, you know now what he thinks you look like. So that's good. And you, of course, have to leave enough time to have a 45-euro risotto.
yeah. you remember this specific?
Oh yeah, it's what I always refer to when I think about Cannes. Is like, God, everything's expensive there.
Yeah. No, I specifically had a 45-euro risotto. Yeah. Everything is really expensive and usually not that great either.
One odd thing I notice in Cannes is if you go anywhere to like one of the beach bars or the things, the only music that they play there is tropical house versions of 80s songs.
Yeah.
So it's like
every party, if you find yourself at a party in Cannes,
hello,
it's not
darkness,
that amazing.
My old friend.
Oh my God. No, every party is that rooftop party at the beginning of La Grande Bellezza by Paolo Sorrentino.
Sure, yeah.
I always hear that specific Bob Sinclair track that's playing in that film, like it's like almost a Papa Americano. That sort of. You're like, where the hell do they get these DJs?
I don't know. It's fascinating.
It's a specific sound. So, what have you been watching? What is up in your life?
What is up in my life? Oh, just watching movies and stuff. As I've mentioned before on this podcast, I'm always looking for things to watch with my parents who aren't necessarily cinephiles and are very quick to think something is weird. So I was like, what to watch? And then we watched Hunt for the Wilder People, the Taika Waititi movie. And that was a home run because I forgot how incredibly sweet that movie is. And I was like, oh man, I wish we still had Taika Waititi, you know?
That's exactly what I want to say. Whatever happened to Taika Waititi?
Well, because he started doing Marvel. He fell down the pipeline.
Yeah, and then he failed at doing Marvel, and now then he failed
He's
with
doing,
that
like, more...
football movie, that one with Fassbender, and now
Samoan,
he's gone.
I don't know. I feel like, he did the Thor Love and Thunder thing that sucked.
Yeah.
And a bunch of like franchisee
and Jojo Rabbit,
things.
right?
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit, but you know, I don't know where he went. Like I want him back in whatever this is. It's about a boy who's basically been spit out by the foster care system, and he's adopted by this family, this husband and wife who live out in the countryside in New Zealand. The wife really wanted this kid. The husband is like a grumpy old man, played by Sam Neill, and he doesn't really care for this kid. And then the lady passes away, and now it's just the two of them, and it's adorable. And I highly recommend, if you haven't seen that, I think that is Taika Waititi in peak form.
It's funny that theaters had to force distributors to actually release it in the Netherlands because it wasn't bought for distribution specifically in our territory. And then when it came out, due to the pressure of theaters, it actually did amazingly well.
Wow. I didn't know that it did that well here. So our new program, Can't Get You Out of My Head, is all about films around obsession. We did an episode before about desire, which I was like, hey, isn't that kind of the same thing? And then Tom pointed out, obsession is kind of the dark side of the coin of desire. Tom, why this program? What links all these movies in your eyes?
I was looking at the release schedule or the re-release schedule. We are releasing Amadeus with Odyssey Classics. And there's a new movie coming out called Obsession by Curry Barker. And there is the re-release of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair.
The Whole Bloody Affair.
The two parts connected. And all of these films are, in a sense, about obsession or different forms of, longing for something but going awry. Mm-hmm. Amadeus is about creative obsession of trying to sort of pursue genius, and the obsession movie, new obsession film by Curry Barker, is about a guy who is in love with a girl, wishes that she would love him, and it's a bonkers horror movie. And Kill Bill is she longs for revenge. Mm-hmm. And then I started like looking into what can obsession be, and it became this incredibly broad program about, I would say this is in a sense about desire, but the sort of shadowy side to it. Yeah.
Because some other movies that we have, you mentioned the ambition in Amadeus. We also have Whiplash, for example. Mm-hmm. But then we also have fan possession, kind of like Perfect Blue or Misery, which I absolutely love Misery. Obsession with the truth, like Zodiac or Memento. And then, of course, the big one, the romantic and sexual desire, which I believe includes one of your all-time favorite movies. So I wanted to know, is there a thing around cinema that you kind of became obsessed with?
Yeah, so you want me to talk about Vertigo. Vertigo is one of my favorite films. It's the oldest movie in this selection, if I'm correct. Years ago, I realized that one of the things that I find incredibly interesting in cinema is relationships that turn toxic, or not relationships that turn toxic, but the movies that show you that relationships can be incredibly intricate and difficult, and that there is maybe, and this is make it a bit more specific, there is an inherent problem within male-female relationships that men and women can never really truly understand each other. What?
Maybe yours. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. You want to shout out to your boyfriend?
My relationship is perfect. Gwen, if you need help.
My all-time favorite movie is Eyes Wide Shut. That is clearly a movie that studies this sort of the difficulty between how men and women differently function in relationship, and especially how they interpret desire in a different way. The plot of Vertigo is that a private detective played by James Stewart is asked to follow a woman who seems to be a danger to herself and claims that she was possessed by the ghost of one Carlotta Valdez. And James Stewart follows her around through the city. And at some point, spoiler, because
Spoilers.
Otherwise, skip
Spoiler
ahead if
for
you
a
don't
movie
want to
from
have,
1958.
skip ahead if you don't want to have Vertigo spoiled. She commits suicide. Plot twist is that the guy who hired him actually wanted to murder his own wife, and the woman that James Stewart was trailing or following was an actress who was impersonating this woman. But he is still obsessed with this woman. So instead of ending the movie there, he just sees her on the street, and he thinks like, wait, this is the woman that I fell in love with. And then he starts sort of changing her identity to become the woman that he followed in the beginning of the film. But that's not her. That's the woman that was killed. So the movie becomes way more about his obsessions shaping her into becoming a thing that she's clearly not being. And that's what Slavoj Žižek says in his beautiful analysis of it.
Do it in the voice.
It's that woman. You need to mortify the woman. Fantastic. That's great. Let's not do that. And so on and so on. The thing of it is, of course, is that there is a projection going on here. He projects his own desire on a woman
lady
that cannot help being not the thing that he wants her to be, which is horrendous and incredibly toxic. But there is my friends always say, oh no, he's going to bring up Lacan again. Yes, I will bring up Lacan again, the French psychoanalyst who says there is no way of people to have a proper relationship because the other is always the other. You and I, while we're talking here, I'm going to project all my nostalgic ideas of both you and things I've known in my life on you, and that's who you are to me. And you're going to do the same. Does that mean that we can never really have a relationship? Lacan says there is no real reason for men and women or any relationship to exist. But it would suck to not do it, right? You just need to be aware of the fact that relationships are, you need to be aware of the fact that you don't project everything onto somebody. Was that some existential shit for you?
How would you say that film has shaped you then?
Oh my God.
Why have you become obsessed in a way with it?
Well, maybe I've become obsessed with the theme of, I wouldn't say impossibility, but maybe the impracticality of having a relationship with anybody, whether it be as a friend or as a partner, is that you need to be aware of the fact that you are with somebody else who has their own desires, who has their own needs and baggage and stuff like that, and that you can not do the thing that James Stewart is doing in Vertigo. You need to be, you cannot put things on somebody and then expect them to sort of function in the way that you would like. There are moments in life or in friendship or in any relationship where there are things happening that you just don't understand from your own standpoint.
And you can't want the other person to change into a more palatable version for you.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of films in this program are in a sense about that, wanting to confine reality or to fit the needs that you specifically have.
Yeah.
Trying to go away from the reality that somebody else, like whether it be James Caan as the writer in A Misery,
exactly
just wanted to get out of the bed.
I feel like that is a very literal interpretation of what you just said. Misery, I think, is a great movie based on a Stephen King story where James Caan is a writer. He wrote this book. This lady is a really big fan of his books, and she does not like this book because the character dies or something. He kills off a character, and she doesn't like it. So she then proceeds.
It's important to note that he doesn't write like high literature.
No. He writes like
because that's the funny thing about
romantasy, kind of. So she crashes his car and kidnaps him and keeps him in his bed. That she's tied him to this bed, and she's like, "Now write the book." Yeah. And now do it right. So, and that's a really, really zoomed out, kind of the same as in Vertigo. It's like, be the person that I want you to be. Like, please, I need everything in my life to be this way. She becomes very violent and obsessive.
Now don't be afraid. I love you.
I love you too.
You learn a beautiful word from the English language due to this movie, and it's called hobbling.
Hobbling?
Hobbling. That's what the thing is called that she does with the big ass hammer.
I remember, how could I forget? It's carved into my brain. Yeah, that's not nice.
Do you have an example, Laura, of being obsessed?
Yes, definitely. It's not as deep as Tom's at all, and it doesn't really relate to the program as much. But when I was about 11 years old, I became heavily obsessed with Lord of the Rings. And that kind of became my entire identity for the next, 3 years? Yeah, to the extent where I learned to write in Elvish, and I wore...
Oh, bless your little hearts.
And I wore elf ears to school, and... yeah, I don't know. That didn't necessarily make me a very popular person, I would say. So in a way, I do think my obsession with Lord of the Rings indirectly butterfly affected into me being who I am, because I think kind of being a weird little kid made me, kind of freed the way for me to become obsessed with cinema without having to think of what anyone thinks of my hobbies or how much I care about this. I was kind of liberated from wanting to belong to other people and becoming myself. And I think that is in large part due to Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter Jackson.
Or J.R.R. Tolkien, I guess. But yeah, Peter Jackson for sure. Maybe Elijah Wood. So yeah, mine, I would say I just kind of became obsessed with cinema in general. And Elliot earlier also pointed out how obsessed I became with Dune. I watched Dune 8.
I thought you were going to say dudes.
Dudes. I became obsessed with dudes. That is also very true. Read them in my memoirs when they finally come out. But
In Elvish.
In Elvish. There is a similarity between Lord of the Rings and Dune and these things that do this extensive world building that maybe I should talk to a therapist about. Where it's why do I...
Hold on, I just talked about Jacques Lacan for 10 minutes.
That is
I
true.
could have easily talked about the Spice Girls.
Do it now.
No, let's not.
Fan obsession. So yeah, fan obsession. We do have Perfect Blue, which I also think is an incredible...
The anime.
The anime.
The Satoshi Kon anime, yeah.
It's gorgeous, and it's...
The blueprint for
Dark, yeah.
Darren Aronofsky's, entire career really, but mostly Black Swan.
Yeah.
We could have talked about the long list that is not... I decided to go for around 25 films, but the long list was incredibly long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the films that are in there because there's also quite a lot of them that I haven't seen. You can find all the movies in the show notes, by the way. So when I look at these films, one thing I noticed, we just talked about kind of the 4 or 5 different types of obsession that are in here. A lot of them are about voyeurism, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Peeping Tom is in there. I went for Vertigo specifically because it's one of my favorite films, but easily we could have included Rear Window, where James Stewart, again, is obsessed with, is there a murder taking place in my back garden?
In the courtyard,
In the courtyard, is my neighbor
a murderer?
killing his wife?
He has a weird suitcase.
Yeah, with really long saws coming out of it. Did he kill his wife? But yeah, I think voyeurism is, a very strong conduit for cinema. It's nice for you as a viewer to look at somebody who's looking at something. The act of seeing a film is voyeuristic. And when that's for some reason doubled by the movie.
Voyeurism about voyeurism.
Voyeurism
so you feel
about it
a little bit
becomes
less
this,
like a creep.
Yeah, or you're literally put in the seat or in the shoes of the creep. You become meshed with the nastiness as well. I think cinema can be incredibly perverted. It's nice sometimes, for some reason, to be in the shoes of somebody who you do not agree with. Right, Gen Z?
No, but I think what you say, cinema in itself is voyeurism. Obviously, all the movies we watch, unless they break the fourth wall, are people who don't know that they're being watched.
Yeah.
And that's this whole thing. You have the close-up. You rarely get that close to anyone's face unless you're a total weirdo or you're intimate with a lot of people. But, seeing people experience emotions and you're just a few inches away is something that is very unique to cinema, I would say.
Yeah.
Being able to really zoom into someone's emotions, watch these people behind closed doors do and say things that you will never be able to see or them do in real life.
And there's also projection going on there. The thing that, we discussed Amadeus on the previous episode. The entire thing where F. Murray Abraham's face is this, looking at him, you constantly project your own self-doubt and disappointment in your own genius, your own mediocrity onto him. Yeah, it's terrible. Cinema does that wonderfully, like whether it be the Spielberg stare, where it's there's the close-up can be something where you as a audience member project your own sentiments onto somebody's face, and that's doubled or made heightened in movies that are about voyeurism.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the Spielberg stare is like Spielberg does this thing really well where instead of showing the thing that people are shocked by, he just like shows the face first for a few seconds. You know this from Jurassic Park. Just said a bunch of times. And
usually kids looking at dinos.
Kids or Laura Dern. Just kind of putting you in that position where before you even see what this person is looking at, you see how the person looks looking at the thing. And that kind of does this really nice thing of putting you in that position and really successfully emoting what that feels like. Something else that I notice about this whole thing about the voyeurism in these movies is that a lot of movies about voyeurism are about a man watching a woman. It's very much about the male gaze, like how are these women observed? But what I do like about our program is that we have movies like Babygirl and Raw and The Pianist, which kind of flip that on its head and kind of do it a little bit differently from a female perspective. Yeah. Why did you choose these 3 movies?
It is, funnily enough, a subject that's hard to make completely diverse. What I always try to do with any program, which is interesting. So it does say something about that. Apparently, this is a thematic vessel that comes from a male gaze standpoint, usually. But I think the interesting thing that you can see now is that recently this has become something that has also been done by female directors. So Babygirl by Halina Reijn is clearly a sort of flipped version of Fatal Attraction, which is also in the program, the Adrian Lyne movie with Michael Douglas and Glenn Close. Glenn Close being the completely obsessed woman, Michael Douglas being this businessman who sort of wants to get rid of this one-night stand that he had, but she goes completely bonkers. And Babygirl is this a version of that. Raw is very different. I mean, that's very, very much about the obsession for flesh, really, the literal yum yum. So yeah, no, I thought it was very important and interesting to include these films because they give a very different gaze onto the same sort of obsessive theme.
Yeah. It is also interesting because I mentioned at the top of this episode that desire and obsession are so close to each other, and obsession is kind of the dark side of the coin, but we did a thing on desire earlier, and it has a lot of overlap because I was like, ooh, maybe Portrait of a Lady on Fire is one, but that one really, really veers into desire way more than obsession because it lacks that kind of darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. What does that say about the male gaze, though?
Right.
No, honestly.
Yeah, I would say it's more perverse. Like we've talked about female desire before. I don't remember exactly if that was a desire episode or just off the cuff somewhere else, but you know, how the female gaze is way more about these little, you know, again, the Mr. Darcy hand in Pride and Prejudice, like that is the peak of female desire, and it's not that perverse. And I do think, and generally, not to say like hashtag not all men, but like generally I do think the male gaze is a lot more perverse and sexual than the female gaze.
I will circle back to Eyes Wide Shut. This shows you exactly that. Yeah. The entire plot of that movie is about that he is jealous. Tom Cruise is jealous of his wife, Nicole Kidman, for thinking of having sex with a sailor in a hotel years ago. Yeah. She didn't have sex. She didn't practice anything. But her fantasy of that is more potent as a sort of narrative thing. That is apparently something, if you, again, I don't want to bring my boy into this, but what he says is, you know, female desire doesn't have to be practical. It doesn't have to be penis in vagina. It can be a narrative in the mind, and that is way more potent then what happens to Tom Cruise? His response to that is, let's go to a sex house where people are fucking. And anybody who's seen that film, that entire sequence in that mansion is one of the least horny things you have ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
That's the difference. The male gaze wants to make it sort of visceral or something, and I think that's also a bit within this program. But I wanted to explore that in a broader way. Because I do think that these movies, funnily enough, have great female performances in them, while being very much the dark side of desire.
So one thing I also wanted to touch on, we talked about cinema being a machine for voyeurism and stuff, but if we take it one step deeper, if we look at the actors and the actresses who are in these movies, as a society, we also have this like weird obsession with celebrities. Like just because someone's an actor in a movie that you love, you are now entitled to know what they named their baby or whatever. How do you feel about like celebrity culture in general and obsession?
I mean, people do need people to look up to, right? Is it not anybody?
Is that what
everybody
it is to
needs a bit of Mozart in their life. Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, but is that what it is to you? Is do you think celebrity culture is us just kind of like aspirational with like we want what these people have? Like, what do you think it is? Why we're so obsessed with celebrity?
Could I maybe add also, like, it's a bit strange that if you say look up to, we're looking up to people playing other people rather than looking up to their actual selves.
I agree with what you said, because recently there was a pub quiz and it was like, what's Malala's last name? And I was like, oh, fuck. I don't think I know that. And I know all of the actor stuff, and I know who they're married to, and I know all these things like, oh my God, motherfucking Malala, who is so important, so much more like important to the world than, Emma Stone being married to Drew McCary. Like, I don't know what that is.
But fucking Yorgos Lanthimos.
That's what they say.
You heard it her first.
Not an official claim by this podcast, by the way.
Yeah, we don't want to be sued.
Rumor has it. So, yeah, what is that thing about these, like, is it because they are in some way, some of them, the most perfect specimen of, actors are beautiful and rich and talented.
Yeah, but I think what you're trying to get at is also the fact that celebrity culture, and I'm first going to say has become, that we also as a society, or of course, not us, but other people,
Could be me.
Could be me, no, are obsessed with these sort of honey boo boo. Wait.
Here
Wait.
comes-
No.
You want to do it? Take it.
With honey boo boo.
Honey boo boo child.
It is honey boo boo child.
Context.
Sorry,
Context,
this is
please.
Werner Herzog in an
look
interview.
up
Yeah,
this
please
clip.
look up Honey Boo Boo Werner Herzog.
He's on Conan, and Conan asks him what he thinks about like reality TV and stuff, because he's a documentarian.
Yeah.
And he goes, he has a weird fascination with, here comes Honey Boo Boo Child.
Boo Boo child.
Let's say once in a while, it isn't on the air anymore. Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Beautiful clip. I love the internet.
But what I want to say is, I don't think this is something come to us via the social media era.
No,
I think
no.
there's always been Hulk Hogan. There's always been celebrities
before
where
that,
you...
there's always been an obsession with actors, even,
No,
back-
but also, I think celebrity culture is broader than just actors. Laura, wake up.
Wake up.
There's more to life than actors. No, but I think that are those aspirational? No, those are maybe the other side of aspiration, where you go like, oh, well, at least I'm more
Schadenfreude.
intelligent.
Yeah.
Schadenfreude, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Is it maybe just, I'm just thinking, hey, like evolutionarily monkey brain, we're supposed to live in tribes, and we're supposed to always know what's going on in our tribe, because it's just vital for our survival to know what's going on with everyone. And is that just kind of like a phantom limb of tribalism that we just want to be up in people's business?
What have you been smoking? Wow, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It could be that. It's like, we love gossip. We love to like know what's up with other people. I always tell my friends, please tell me your colleagues' gossip. I want to hear all the gossip from people I don't even know. That's how much I love gossip. I'm just hungry for it. And
who's fucking who? Oh my God.
no, but I want to know. So is it
Larry
just that?
from
And maybe that's why it's often also like gossip culture is often also more geared towards women, because we just want to be up in people's business and know what's going on with the tribe. I don't know. Could be that.
And men don't give a shit.
Well, men maybe take it more from like a sexual lens. Whereas I think for women, it's
bump so and so.
Well, I'm just talking monkey brain.
I'm here with the monkey brain. I'm just
talking monkey brain now, and man monkey brain is need to ensure my offspring.
Yeah.
Whatever dirty things you want to think of that. And then women's is like, we need to make sure that everyone in the tribe is okay, so that interpersonally, this and this. I don't know. I sound like fucking Jordan Peterson right now.
No, you started to sound like Jeff Goldblum for a second there. I sound like Jordan Peterson. Hold on, did you redact that name from the podcast?
Take that name out your...
Take that name out your mouth. But I'm like, okay, so I don't want to like be quoted as like Laura believes that women are this and men are this, but could that be an explanation for our obsession with celebrity culture? Is just this kind of inherent need for knowing what's going on with
knowing people's business.
I don't know.
I was thinking with actors, especially, they play people perhaps that we would want to be rather than they are the people that we see. And so then when it comes to like gossip, it's like that contrast of like, we want to imagine them as something else, but at the same time, we want to be reminded that they're still a bit like us, that they still cheat on their partners.
Oh, so you think it's about us like trying to catch them in their flaws?
Yeah.
It's like, you're not that great.
Exactly.
That's an interesting. I briefly want to, because what you said reminded me of the fact that 3 years ago I made a video about Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner dating, and that I said that I think they're a great match, and you don't know Timothée Chalamet, and he might not be that French like indie dream boy, whatever. And everyone got really mad at me for saying that. And I just love that now Marty Supreme and Marty Supreme's press tour kind of proves that I was right. That's who that guy is.
Yeah.
He just doesn't love opera.
He just doesn't love opera. And everyone was really mad as if they ever go to the opera. But anyway, yeah, there is this thing of like maybe trying to put the puzzle together of like, who is this person when they're not Elio and Call Me By Your Name, when they're not this, like, who are you really when you're not styled on the red carpet? I think that could be a thing. It's someone we all know, but we don't know. So maybe we want to figure out who they are.
I would say that it's all about projection and so on and so on. I mean, it's the same thing, right? We're just projecting onto these vessels that are Emma Stone and saying did she do something to her face?
Right. That's a whole nother level.
What does that say? So
she got an upper blepharoplasty?
What did Bradley Cooper looks completely different from like 4 days
like
ago.
Barry Manilow now.
So welcome to this video about the Hollywood mid-face obsession. Men now have a mid-face obsession. Look at that. Okay, so and what does that obsession do to us? So we are looking at videos of exactly, the upper phlegm. Hey,
upper
motherfuckers!
Upper phlemoroplasty.
Upper blasphemy vasectomy. Are we looking at? I mean, I will need that in a couple of years. I will need that in 2 years probably.
Yeah, because your eyelids get, not yours specifically, but your eyelids are getting out of control. But I'm just saying, it's like she might have gotten an upper bleph because her eyelids were getting heavy. But we're just so desperate to catch perfect angel Emma Stone in a thing of like, ha. You're a hypocrite.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there is also an underlying thing where it shows the fallibility of celebrity. So maybe she was just fucking insecure about... Maybe Bradley Cooper just thought he was getting fat in the face, and he had some surgery done.
Yeah.
Who gives a flying rat's ass? But secretly, maybe... looking at those videos, we go like, you see, they're also just people. They're just people. They're not. He thought he was getting fat, and the person looking at it goes like, I'm a bit fat in the face. But thank God.
Stars, they're just like us.
The stars are also fat in the face.
And isn't it then coming back to the voyeurism thing that they know they're being looked at, whereas we are less conscious of being looked at, so we don't maybe feel the same.
Yeah, you're the one who's not on camera out of the
Well, I think that if you look at this from the other side, so from the celebrity side, if you would be so well known to such an extent, I think it does weird things to you. And I think that because then it feels as though the audience is constantly asking you to perform or fail so they can have their popcorn and eat it and go like, oh yeah, well, actually it's not that bad. Jennifer Lawrence also trips.
Yeah, and what you're saying as well, I think now in this day and age where everyone has a voice and a comment and an Instagram account and can say whatever they want, like I also know that I can post a video that has 200 really positive comments and one person will say is like, what's up, Pinocchio? And I'll be like, oh God, I do have a big nose. You know, like...
Doesn't that hit... That hits.
No, but that's the one you remember.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
like if someone goes, name 7 comments on that video, I'll be like, oh, there's the one that said I had a big nose. And, you know, so that is like, imagine kind of heightening that by 10 million people now having an opinion on what you look like. Yeah, of course, at some point you're like, gee, maybe I should get.
And most people don't ask for this. They're not there for attention. I don't think Emma Stone started acting because she wanted to get comments on her upper blasphemy vasectomy.
But it is also, you can never do it right because like Emma Stone, I don't think I hope not because I will come for them. But if anyone ever like bullied Emma Stone for the way she looked, because she's gorgeous. But okay, so maybe that wasn't right. But then her doing something about it also isn't right. She's just like, why did she do that? Ugh,
it is a
God.
zero-sum game.
Yeah, you can never get it right. So before we wrap up, I just want to tell you about this new segment we're going to be doing called Hot Takes. We would love for you to submit a little 1-minute voice memo with a hot take or a controversial opinion that you have about film so we can discuss it at the end of each episode. You can send us a voice memo at celebratingcinema@lab111.nl, or you can find us on Instagram, send us a DM or whatever. We would love to hear from you. If you made it this far, please subscribe and leave a review. It genuinely helps us. If you want to come see any of the movies in our Obsession program, you can find the link to tickets in the show notes. We'll see you next time. Stay connected with us at Celebrating Cinema and Lab by following @Lab111 on Instagram and Letterboxd. Do you love what we do? Support us by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us climb the ranks of the podcast charts. This was a Lab 111 production, edited and produced by Elliot Bloom, and co-produced by myself, Laura Gommans. Music comes from Hugo Emertsal, and the artwork is by Studio FFF.